been chosen.
Good, so welcome again to another Morrowind playthrough. This will be a little bit different. Like normally I would just play Morrowind and you know, that's it. Basically just play along, comment a little bit and you can watch. But this time I'm gonna do it more well, a little bit more immersive, maybe. I wanna get up my RP skills, using them otherwise as well. So basically, I want to get into storytelling, or maybe into D&D, being a game master, but it's still a long way. Anyway, I'm not just gonna go play the game. I'm also gonna, well, be more like the narrator of my character, if that makes sense. Let's see if that actually is a nice thing or not. This run again will also be one where we take the time to read the books. We will not read them at the spot right there, but whenever we got time. I got also some survival mods installed, so, so that means we will have the time to read some books. There was it last year or this year in the April, was a very nice mod that came out, which is called Ashfall. You will see it later. You can actually build like a little camp and make a campfire and grill meat, and there's a whole nutrition and hydration and tiredness system. It's awesome. So yeah, I hope the mod pack I packed together from warrior sources is nice. Other than that, it's gonna be vanilla. A few texture replacers here and there, and Tamriel rebuild, but no other like game-changing mods. We've got some economy fixes in there, so we can't get rich. Yeah, well, and some other stuff. But yeah, you will see. We'll just start a new game and see if sound is fine or not.
They have taken you from the Imperial City's prison, first by carriage and now by boat. To the east, to Morrowind. Fear not, for I am watchful. You have been chosen.
Wake up. We're here. Why are you shaking? Are you okay? Wake up.
Alright. Oh, there we go.
Stand up. There you go. You were dreaming. What's your name?
My name is, I want to go into audio settings and pull master a little bit lower. Alright, so this is our new life now. And the name is Marco. American style keyboard. I need to Marco Dar.
Not even last night's storm could wake you. I heard them say we've reached Morrowind. I'm sure they'll let us go. Quiet. Here comes the guard. This is where you get off. Come with me.
Alright, so this is the story of Mako Daro, a young Kashid from elsewhere who was trained in the arts of being a shaman by her initial family and clan, and later given away through grief circumstances to be trained as an assassin. Normally something that an Argonian goes through because they got the professionals for that, but even in elsewhere you need assassins, and Kashid are quite good assassins because they are very acrobatic and they have sharp claws. The problem was the contract Mako Daro was sent on was quite hard. Not to say impossible, but she failed one way or another and got caught. And by the whim of the Emperor, she wasn't executed, but she was sent on this prison ship.
Get yourself up on deck and let's keep this as civil as possible.
To be shipped off as a prisoner.
On deck, now, prisoner.
To the prison colony of Wardenfell.
This is where they want you. Head down to the dock and I'll show you to the census office.
And looking at the bitter coast, she was thinking to herself, naked Argonians, dumb Imperials. This is a good start of my new life here.
You finally arrived, but our records don't show from where.
Of course, the Imperial Guard had no knowledge whatsoever, which is a common known thing about the Imperial. That always is happening, you know. Even for they are using so much paperwork, seldomly they have it all in order. So as she was filling out her papers and tried to get a good sight of everything surrounding her, she thought about what she was wanting to do with her new life.
Great. I'm sure you'll fit right in. Follow me up to the office and they'll finish your release.
After the guard gave her the rundown of what he was told to say to probably every new prisoner,
Head on in.
decided to go into the census office.
Yes, we've been expecting you. You'll have to be recorded before you're officially released. There are a few ways we can do this, and the choice is yours.
The Imperial, nay, the Breton, seemed to give her some options on to tell the census office what she really is and where she comes from, though she was curious, as all Kashids, to know if the census office agent actually could read her right, just by her answering his questions.
On a clear day, you chance upon a strange animal, its leg trapped in a hunter's claw snare. Judging from the bleeding, it will not survive long. What do you do?
The question proved more trickier as she thought, so she actually needed to think about these answers. Would she use herbs from her pack to put a dying animal to sleep? Would she just draw the dagger, mercifully ending the life of the animal in a single thrust? Or would she just not interfere with the natural evolution of events and take the opportunity to learn more about the strange animal that she has never seen before? Well, surely she wasn't trained in the art of daggers, but she really liked the alchemy aspects of her shaman training, but also she was a natural curious. So, thinking about this, Mako knew that that she is trained in alchemy, but wasn't quite the skillfulest alchemist yet, so probably the mixture she was making had a chance to even hurt the animal even more. So, after long thinking about the question of the census agent, she found that she would rather study the animal. Elsewhere is a harsh place, and animals and creatures in general are dying all over the place, so studying them has always brought more wisdom than just acting upon them.
One summer afternoon, your father gives you a choice of chores. What would you rather do?
There we go again. The imperial thought of chores. Catching fish is actually a very honorable work. Gathering herbs for the shaman mother as well. Working in the forge though, Mako was never someone who had lots of arm muscles. So she decided to go for what she was doing for her mother anyway, all the time, which is gathering herbs.
Your cousin has given you a very embarrassing nickname, and even worse, likes to call you it in front of your friends. You have asked him to stop, but he finds it very amusing to watch you blush. What do you do?
Well, Mako tried to think about how the imperial concept of mocking one could fit into the tribes of elsewhere. But sure is, if you mock someone, you, well, kind of diminish his honor, and that's not great. So, just fighting back by giving a more embarrassing nickname wouldn't do it. So it was either solve it normally while talking to the person, or fighting it out. And the greatest honor can always be earned by fighting each other.
There is a lot of heated discussion at the local tavern over a group of people called telepaths. They've been hired by certain city-state kings. Rumor has it these telepaths read a person's mind and tell their lord whether a follower is telling the truth or not. You believe what?
Again, such an imperial concept of society. The clan's life in elsewhere had not many liars, but the liars that were around and were always, bring dishonor to their clan, it would be good to have known them earlier, or known that they would lie and bring dishonor earlier. Sure, mind-reading magic might not be morally agreeable, but then again, as a shaman, she was used to far-seeing, and that included emotions of other Khajiit. So she found that a loyal follower to the king would have nothing to fear from a telepath. It is important to have a method of finding assassins and spies before it's too late, especially in the desert.
Your mother sends you to the market with a list of goods to buy. After you finish, you find that by mistake a shopkeeper has given you too much money back in exchange for one of the items. What do you do?
Well, as a Khajiit, Mako always had a liking for shiny things and sweet things, so of course she would keep the extra money. In general, the trading system in Khajiit with caravans always meant that you were not getting the best price, but you were getting a price. And surely the shopkeepers elsewhere or caravan leaders overcharged quite a little bit. Then again, they would never make that mistake in the first place.
While in a marketplace, you witness a thief cut a purse from a noble. Even as he does so, the noble notices and calls for the city guards. In his haste to get away, the thief drops the purse near you. Surprisingly, no one seems to notice the bag of coins at your feet. What do you do?
It's just the same question. Pick up the bag and take it with me.
Your father sends you on a task which you loathe, cleaning the stables. On the way there, pitchfork in hand, you run into your friend from the homestead near your own. He offers to do it for you, in return for a future favor of his choosing. What do you do?
Well, desert was always a harsh place, and working there was strenuous. And the thing about living in a clan is that actually nobody cares if you do a task, as long as the task gets done and the clan can move on.
Your mother asks you to help fix the stove. While you're working, a very hot pipe slips its moorings and falls towards her. What do you do?
Well, as her mother was also a shaman and a wise Khajiit farseer, Mako would have given her life to save her mother. Not only for her own personal affections, but also to ensure the survival of the clan.
While in town, the baker gives you a sweet roll. Delighted, you take it into an alley to enjoy, only to be intercepted by a gang of 3 other kids your age. The leader demands the sweet roll, or else he and his friends will beat you and take it. What do you do?
Well, as Mako was more trained in trickery and acrobatics, but surely not in fighting, she would never take up a fight 3-1. Although her claws were mighty sharp, still she would probably just get beaten up. No. In such a situation, you need trickery, so she would think about pretending to give the sweet roll, but at the last minute throw it in the air, and they'll pay attention long enough, and then we get a shot in on the leader.
Entering town, you find that you are witness to a very well-dressed man running from a crowd. He screams to you for help. The crowd behind him seems very angry. What do you do?
Don't interfere into other people's business. The census agent thought of her as a monk. Well, that could potentially be the imperial equivalent of a shaman. Mako looked at her papers.
Very good. The letter that preceded you mentioned you were born under a certain sign. And what would that be?
Right. Mako was trained a shaman, and later as an assassin, but she always had a knack for just being that much more lucky when it came to dire situations than others. She seemed to have like a patron saint of some sorts, always helping her, and she was avoiding fatal situations more than she would like to admit.
Interesting. Now, before I stamp these papers, make sure this information is correct.
Okay, let's see. Well, her claws are definitely sharp. She wasn't using no armor when she was trained to be an assassin. But surely athletics and acrobatics are one of her fortes. Unbeknownst to the census agent, though, she was kind of more acrobatic than athletic. She was more like a sprinter. She could surely scale walls and jump heights, but her endurance wasn't as great as one would hope. Although she would be very good at sneaking. In her free time, she also trained with the shield to avoid some blows, right? Because Mako couldn't hit very hard, but that doesn't mean she could at least try to avoid getting hit. During her assassin training, she did get some training in throwing darts, so surely the census agent guessed right that she had some marksman knowledge. Putting her in the light armor category for basic knowledge, he was also right, though restoration is not a school of magic she learned. And blunt weapons were right out. Still though, the census agent got quite a good picture of her. Mako decided to make some small changes to her papers. Not sure if she should write her past or her more recent past. She just put both things. The census agent had put in combat as a specialization, which was clearly not right. Mako was more schooled in magic than in stealth, actually. She thought of her pretty intelligent and agile. She was trained in alchemy. She had very sharp claws. The assassins trained her in light armor. She was a very good sneaker, and she was good at acrobatics, scaling walls, jumping, getting where she needed to be. Surely, she didn't have too much of endurance, but still she got some training in athletics with the assassins. With the assassins, she also learned to use throwing darts, that's correct. She always kinda had a knack for the magic school of mysticism, because that's what you get trained as a shaman. You tap into the otherworldly forces to foresee. But also, she dabbled in enchanting her own items. Also, on the side, whenever she had a little bit of free time, she tried to snatch magic books and learn some hexes and curses, which she would then use to give her a little help in combat. And that's where she learned some spells of the School of Alteration. Manipulating the physical world and its natural properties was always something she was interested in too. And that is the skill backstory of Mako Daru. She looked at her papers Acrobatics, outstanding all the other skills. Although she thought herself, to be quite mediocre, but still in the upper level. And thought, well, maybe I'm going to make it in this harsh land. I did not hear a good thing about the Dunmer. Surely her low endurance was showing, and her short and very basic marksman training was something she needed to train up on. Her mysticism training as a shaman began to fade away in the past. Her dabble in enchantment still was pretty present, but she was never good at it. She needed to get a little bit more professional. And of course, also the dabbling in alteration was just giving her a slight edge. Her blocking skill being not even on the papers. Because she always just tried to get by. So she definitely needed to work on that. Okay, so that's the situation. She signed the papers and looked at the census office agent.
Show your papers to the captain when you exit to get your release fee.
The census agent put a scroll on the table. She quickly browsed over it, saw her full name, saw her classes, saw how they kinda put her into a box, like if she was mustered for the military. She talked once more to the census office agent. Hello, do you have any business with the Imperial Office of Census and Excise today? Well, what is the Imperial Office of Census and Excise anyway? We enforce, monitor and regulate taxation. Visitors to Morrowind are processed by Imperial Census and Excise Commission agents, like you were, by me. Our Coast Guard cutters control smuggling and piracy in the inner sea. My census and excise officers also administer many Imperial licenses. See my aid if you want to inquire about that. Well, she looked at the Breton, not sure if he could help her, but surely he must have been longer on this godforsaken island than she was. Tell me what you know about Morrowind. Yes, this is Morrowind. You're in the census excise offices in the port of Sidonin, in Wardenfell district, the province of Morrowind. Thank you, old man. She thought. That's nothing I wouldn't already gathered from the place. But what about Sidonin? Our town nickname is the gateway to Wardenfell because most people to Wardenfell come through here and proceed by the office. Sidonin means something in the native language, but I've never found a Dunmer who could tell me. Most of the natives in Sidonin work for support the Empire, and the remainder are mostly fishermen. And did you know we have only one working lighthouse in all Wardenfell? And it's right here, in Sidonin. Huh. What can you tell me about the Dark Elves? They're good people usually. Some of them seem angry at times when I deal with them, true. But many people have that reaction too when we make sure they pay their fees or taxes. The protection the Empire gives our citizens is not cheap, unfortunately. Right. The protection people never wanted, she thought.
Continue through to the next building and talk to Celes Gravius.
Again, the guard muttered, commands to her, and she didn't really like that. So she just passed the door and took a look around. There was some plates on a cupboard and a candlestick. Also some bottles and some flasks. She was interested in the flasks because some of them had belladonna tea in them, which gave some nice effects for resisting other spells. So she crouched down, made sure nobody would see her, and took the flasks. A small chest piqued her eye, and a silverware bowl. She quickly took some brews from the shelf, and she found a book. Curious as she is, she took it with her to read it later. The room had a lot of silverware, which she made sure to pick up. There was also a note pinned into the desk with a dagger. Riskar, don't think I've forgotten our wager. I want this dagger sharp as a scam's claw by morning. Against shield. In the corner was a basket of bread. She thought, well, might as well take it. On the table was an apprentice's lockpick, and remembering her stealth training, she tried her luck with the small chest on the cupboard. She quickly broke in. 31 Imperial gold coins, not too bad. In some baskets there was some food, which she decided to take with her. And before she left, because Imperial guards were so annoying for her, she took a quiet look in the cellar. Baskets with some weird stuff, spoons all around, and sacks with food and some other alchemic ingredient. Very nice. She took everything she can, minding her bag was already half full. She stepped through the door and immediately noticed the warm and humid air in the swamp of the Bitter Coast. She took a look in her backpack to assess her situation. 31 gold coins surely wouldn't get her very far, but it was a start. Maybe she would be able to get some nice items at a local store. She unrolled her map and saw it was incomplete, although the map also made sure and showed her that she had a whole new island to explore in front of her. She went into the next building, saw the Imperial, and as she was already fed up with them, tried to go out. But something told her that she first needed to tell to this very general looking
Your papers, please.
Imperial. He seemed to have a little bit better manners than the senses of his agents, so she talked to him. Also behind him, a key sprang to her eye. Not sure if she could actually steal that key. She made sure to talk to the Imperial Guard first. First, let me take your identification papers. Thank you. Word of your arrival only reached me yesterday. I'm Zealous Gravius, but my background is not important. I'm here to welcome you to Morrowind. Well, for a welcome one, Zealous Gravius certainly had a very good looking armor. What is your background? Marco asked. I am Zealous Gravius, guard and knight, errant of the Imperial Legion. Ah, always the Imperials. They kept their secrets more closely than the fiercest Kashyyyk. Well, what can you tell me about Morrowind? Yes, you are in Morrowind. I don't know why you're here, or why you were released from prison and shipped here. But your authorization comes directly from Emperor Uriel Septime VII himself, and I don't need to know any more than that. When you leave this office, you're free. But before you go, I have instructions on your duties. Instructions from the Emperor, so pay careful attention. More instructions, more duties. I thought I would be free, but I guess as a prisoner who escaped execution, I can't really pick. Alright, Zealous, what are my duties? This package came with the news of your arrival. You are to take it to Caius Casares, in the town of Balmora. Go to the Sulphur Corner Club and ask for Caius Casares. They'll know where to find him. Serve him as he would serve the Emperor himself. I also have a letter for you, and a dispersal to your name. He handed over a tightly rolled scroll and a package for Caius Casares, and also a small bag of gold coins. It was quite hefty and weighed about the same as an apple in the palm of her hand. Who is Caius Casares? Report to him in Balmora. I can't tell you where to find him, but you ought to go to the Sulphur Corner Club and ask for him. Someone there can you direct you to him. Well, thank you for the information. What can you tell me about the Emperor? He is still the Emperor. According to my instructions, he personally authorized your release from prison and your delivery here. It's all very mysterious, but that's the way the Empire works. Silence, secrecy. Let not the left hand know what the right hand is doing. Well, how do I get to Balmora? Balmora is north of Steidanin. The road passes Pelagiad village and Fort Pelagiad, crosses a deep ravine, passes Fort Moonmud, then turns west across the Oidai River into Balmora. The Sulphur Corner Club is in the southeast Balmora, on the east side of the river. For more detailed directions, talk to Ilona, the scout at the Real Straight House here in Steidanin. But take my advice, you're new here. Take the Siltstrider to Balmora. Fast, cheap, safe. Cross the bridge and head east. Can't miss it. Whew, that's a lot of directions. Mako tried to remember them all. Sure, the first thing she will wanted to try is to hire a Siltstrider, but she was already worried about the prices. And the low dispersal she got from the Imperials surely wouldn't help. What about the Empire actually? Any news? Well, you are in the Empire. This is the Wardenfell district of the province of Morrowind, and Morrowind has been part of the Empire for over 400 years. The current Emperor is Uriel Septime, 24th of the Septime line. You haven't been in prison that long, have you? Nothing wrong with your head, is there? The man said you were acting a little strange when they brought you from the ship. A condescending look was to be found on the face of the Imperial General. Well, I'd have enough of the Imperials for now. But this key looks very interesting to me. I wouldn't want to risk my life, but Surely they wouldn't kill me for stealing just a key, right? Well, let's come back later.